Hi guys, this is Dandelion Song. Welcome back for part, I think it's 6 of What Are These Maniacs Up To? And then the subtitle of this would be the Pope Fiasco Tour of 2015. So here's where he's going to be on September 24th. I think we covered the 23rd day. If this is your first video, I'm doing a series on these. I'm trying to skim the top. I just want to give you an overview of all the symbolism, the big picture, the ancient religion aspects, as much as I can tell you, and to let you know what I think is really going on. So on the 24th, he's going to be at the U.S. Capitol building addressing a joint session of Congress, which is a first for a pope. And I just wanted to pop this up for you so that you can see the separation of church and state here. Look at this is the Basilica of the Immaculate Conception. And this is the Capitol. And this is the Basilica. And this is the Capitol. The Basilica. Alright, you get the picture. Okay, here we go. Now, taking this time right off of this New York Times article here, we pop that right into the gematria counter, and I do remove the 5 here. And so we pop that in, and we see that we have some special numbers here. One of them is July 4th. This is the God number. This is the G and the D. This is the way that the Zionists, and I believe other Jews also write God. They leave the O out. So the way to, and also Jesuits. Jesuits and Zionists are really the same people, because Marduk Ra started with Semite kings, way back a long time ago, thousands of years before Christ, and he started the Vatican before Christ, and he started it with Semite kings. Not to be anti-Semite, I think that Marduk Ra had good intentions at the time, and they were working with the people that they knew, the stock of Abraham, which had proved himself loyal to the Anunnaki of the Nephilim at the time by being willing to sacrifice his son. So they used him as breeding stock to create their kings that they wanted to set up their empire with. So these people, the Jesuits and the Zionists, consider this to be the God number. It doesn't have to do with independence. That's all Disneyland. Doesn't have to do with independence. Nope. It has to do with their religion. Now the fireworks also play into that. I don't want to get off on that. Okay, so anyway, here we go. 444. This is the kill number. This is the 44th president. This is a 444. The direction. Let's go back to Google Earth. The direction. I have just a mess of lines here now. We'll just zoom out so you can see the skull one more time. Oh, sorry, I'm not. There we go. There's the skull. All right. So if we zoom in here, we can see from this direction is the Georgia Guidestones, and this is a 44-degree heading that goes right into the heart of the action right here. It actually goes right to the Washington Monument, and then it continues onto the Freedom Tower. And from there, it continues on to ancient Babylon. This is something I haven't seen anybody else talk about. In ancient Babylon, in Daniel 5, I believe, it talks about the writing on the wall and the fall of the divided kingdom. Well, here we have another kingdom, and we have, I don't want to take the time, but you have to see my video where I show this lineup, how it lines up right to ancient Babylon, the exact 32, 32, 32 coordinates of the writing on the wall in ancient Babylon, which happens to be within the eye of a drawing that they have over there of Isis. And I have that, I think, in my outro for a little preview. But this is the 44. That's why I wanted to show that to you. And it's funny, it goes right through your Rockefeller number right there. Now this number here is very telling. If you've been following me for a little while, you know that I did a few videos on the squaring of phi, because Philadelphia has 2 phi's in it. If you square phi, a curious thing happens. The 1.618 turns to a 2.618, and then also the next 8 digits after the decimal point stay the same. So this is the number that I have taken to mean phi squared, except for it's an anagram of it. So when they take the 8-6 by itself, 6-8 is, come on, 6-8 is stock and market, but stock market is 816, and Bride of Christ has 816 gematria connections, and 86 is a word that means kill. When you 86 something, you kill it. One of the stock market crashes where it was 86 was on an 8/6 day. It was an 8/24 day, and that's a mirror because the 2015 is another 8. So this number is, they're not kidding when they put this number up here. It has to do with phi squared, and it has to do with the Bride of Christ numbers. And I was talking, when I first saw the Roanoke information, I immediately connected. Allison Parker has 816 numbers in her name. She plays the Bride of Christ in that story, and they kill her before the wedding feast. She was going to marry Chris, right? She's the bride of Chris. Well, of course, that all didn't happen. It's all ridiculously fake. But the story was, the symbolism was that they kill the Bride of Christ. They do the same thing with the Dylan Storm Roof. They bring the Dylan Storm Roof in, and the timestamp shows an 816, and then he goes in and kills the Bride of Christ at the Bible study. And they do this again and again, killing of the Cecil the Lion. That was a Bride of Christ kill. So this is symbolism that goes on and on. You might think I'm crazy, and when I first started commenting on YouTube, I got a lot of like, you need pills kind of comments, and I promise you, I don't need pills. I'm very smart. Sometimes I forget things, but I have a lot of clues flowing through it at any time. So what I want to say about this is, and now I lost my thread. Here, let me pause and I'm going to remember what I'm talking about. Oh yes, I was posting the Bride of Christ connection before. It seemed like other people got it. There was a few other people in the comments who got it. But somebody said, first of all, a bunch of people were attacking me in the comments. And somebody said, hey, that matches up with the Madonna tour. She's going to Washington, D.C. in September to do some kind of number, and it has to do with the death and destruction of the Bride of Christ. So, yeah, we're not crazy. People who think are not crazy. We could be wrong. We could forget the details. We could forget how many days there are in a year, but we're actually not crazy. We just have a lot of stuff going on in our heads. So because we're talking about the Pope talking from the Washington, starting to stammer now, from the Capitol building, let's bring up the Solomon's Temple that I found and overlaid. Now, when I first did this a few videos ago, quite a few videos ago, like 2 or more weeks ago, I laid this down wrong. And what I've discovered from studying these is that everything on the earth is in mirror of the sky. It's supposed to be a mirror. So when I first laid down Solomon's Temple, I didn't mirror it first, and that all didn't make sense because I didn't understand. It didn't match up. So anyway, some of these buildings match up on the side. I do not know enough about Solomon's Temple, so I apologize that I can't really fill you in on why they put this here and what it means and what does it have to do with the Pope being here. They do have a thing called a brazen altar right here, and I don't know if they did sacrifices there. Over here is the Holy of Holies, so I'm going to scroll in right there. This is a little annoying that you have to bring this up each time to change the transparency. So here it is. I'll just leave it at this transparency. So here's the Holy of Holies. Let's back out. Oh, wait a minute. I grabbed the wrong one. Hold on. I had the wrong one. Hold on. All right. Well, after my speech about using the mirror image, then I grabbed the wrong one. So this is the mirror image. And this makes more sense because the brazen altar is out here. The Holy of Holies is over here. That makes a lot more sense. But while I was here, this is what I wanted to show you is the owl in the dome. I think most people know about the owl. This is a sign of Isis. She's holding the owl's leg. I'm going to zoom out and center it. She's holding the owl's leg with her left hand. The owl signifies a feminine divine aspect of being able to see in the dark using intuition. Now the lawmakers and politicians, they burn the owl, and some controlled opposition conspiracy theorists talk about that the owl is Moloch, and maybe it is, but the whole idea of sacrificing care is to kill the feminine within, and to do it at the owl, to burn the owl, is a way of burning the sacred feminine, the Holy Spirit, which is associated with Isis, among other things. So now we see in this coat of arms that the Vatican acknowledges Isis. So what you can tell from this is that we have Illuminati or Freemasons or control families on both sides of the coin of the coin here, actually the whole spectrum of both honoring the Holy Spirit feminine and also trying to kill the Holy Spirit feminine. So the patriarchal government, the one that's killing Mother Nature, and that would be the one who's trying to kill the feminine. And the Jesuits, they are actually making a show. They're making a show of honoring the feminine. But I don't believe that's where their motivations actually lie. Okay, so anyway, he's going to be speaking here. He's going to make a short stop outside this, and I want to show you that this is 33 degrees between these two legs, and we have the owl here. And this, since I'm using the right version now of Solomon's Temple, this is in the Holy of Holies, which puts the brazen altar out here. Now, I worked on this. I tried to figure out how this is exactly supposed to be, and I think these are the pillars of Boaz and Joachim. So if they're going to be walking around right here, my feeling is they are going to walk around here. Maybe they are saying they're going to walk around here and they're actually going to walk around here. This is, if I was designing this event, I would have them walk around here. But, you know, no one consults me on these things. I think, all right, well, okay, so back over here in the Holy of Holies, I just want to point out to you, there is an eyeball. And this has to do with the eye structure, the eye cosmology of our world. This is also a flattish spheroid, for those of you who like to think about flattish spheroid models of our world. But if you look at it, this is an eye, and it has a 33-degree vision, and here is the cornea, and here is the lens. And on the back of it, where the retina would be, there's something that's controlling the optical input. And this is why in the Bible it says the eyes are your thieves. They lie to you, and they block your knowing of your pineal gland. All right, so later in the day, the Pope is going to go to St. Patrick's Church and Catholic Charities of the Archdiocese. We looked at that, right? It had I showed you the Isis on that coat of arms. Francis will meet with the indigent immigrant. He's going to do a photo op over here. So I looked up this church. I thought, wait, where'd it go? I thought, maybe I have the wrong church. Here we are. Maybe I have the wrong church because the other ones are just, you know, so much grander. So I was scrolling down here, and then I realized, oh, I don't have the wrong church. So we have the 9/11 symbolism, which equals 9/23. I'm looking for my, oh, hold on, I'll pause. So 9/11 equals September 24th. The Julian 9/11 equals the Gregorian September 24th. And I probably said in a bunch of videos that it equals 9/23, because for a while I thought I looked this up and I had remembered it that way, and maybe I remembered it wrong, or maybe I didn't look it up. But anyway, now I have this to refer to, so I'm going to try to remember it the right way. And this is why they're going here. Not only that, it was the fifth and last mission chapel of St. Albans Parish. Now, Alban has a lot to do with the Cathars. That was called, when they killed the Cathars, that was the Albigensian crusade, where they killed all of this. And this is, Alban refers to white elfish people. So this is still a bit of a mystery to me. I don't know, you know, if you look at pictures of Pleiadians, they do look like white elfish people. So this could have to do with Pleiadian involvement within the Vatican. This could have a reference to do with the genocide, the Albigensian crusade, where they killed all the Cathars who were called Albis. If you see my videos about the Cathars, I have a video background about the Cathars, and I also have a lot of videos showing that the Cathars draw doves, like Nazca line type doves, over their cities, around their castles, and they have a bunch of headings from their castles going in very meaningful directions. They coded their castles amazingly. It's really, really amazing. Plus they're beautiful. Now this number, the 22 mixed with the 11, and over here this is a 10. This rings, I was studying pi recently, the first 1,000 digits of pi, and there's an 11 there's placement code basically. There's basically placement code in pi, and at the 1122 part, the 1122nd place past the decimal point of pi, there is an 816, which is the Bride of Christ number. Now, there's also another 1 right there that shows you that it's really phi. I can't draw on this because I'm not in my graphic program. Now, but the thing that all of a sudden struck me, and this has to do with Obama, is that, you know, Kennedy, JFK died on 11/22/1961. And if you could picture 1961 in your head, I'll kind of draw it here invisible. Oh, here, let me go to my thing. If you picture 1961, this is like an 861, which is an anagram again of phi, 1.618. Whoops, where's my 6? Oh, yeah, sorry, there it is. So this is the Bride of Christ number. So when they killed JFK, this was also the feeling that the nation had. I wasn't there, I just heard elders talk about it, that it was like killing Camelot. It was like killing King Arthur. It was like killing their hope. And this is actually a feeling that they're going to try to build up again with Obama, because they've been trying to raise him up in the popular opinion. Same with the Pope. And they're going to have, I think they're going to have a fake assassination of those guys, and they're going to recreate this death of hope, or this death. Not that Obama has been such a huge hope, of course, just that this is the symbolism of what they're trying to create. Now, I have a video on 4 and 20 blackbirds baked in a pie. I think I have 3 videos on that, and that shows you the larger digits of pi. And if you would like to see what I'm talking about the placement code that I have found within pi, this would be the placement code, and then the place that it points to is this, which shows you the death day of JFK. Now, so anyway, please check out those videos when you get a chance. I think that you'll like those. Excuse me. So it's a little harder to figure out more of the deeper symbolism of these places. Everything is symbolic, so it's just a matter of figuring it out. But one of the clues about this place, St. Patrick's, is that it was destroyed. The center, the enrichment center, was destroyed in a fire on April 5th, which is a 4/5, during the riots following the assassination of Martin Luther King. Well, this is a racial tension, race war type of an idea. And we know that the media has been trying to build a race war to turn us against, to turn the common people against one another, so that we will be so busy fighting an ignorant, war, or holding ignorant ideas based on fiction, that we won't have any extra brain cells to figure out what's really going on. So this could be some of the symbolism of him coming here at this time, because this is an 86. And we are seeing this number. These are the same numbers again. The 816, the 618, Bride of Christ number, that kind of idea. Just a little nugget in the WTF category. The distance and the heading between St. Patrick's Cathedral and the place where I wrote the Annunciant Hoedown, that's where they're all going to do the fish dance on the Pope's first stop here, right after he gets out of the Kennedy Airport. Look at all these 6s over here, guys. It's a 666. I'm gonna say that's a 6. I just slapped that on it. I didn't try very hard, but I think if I went back and did it again, we'd have all 6s in the direction from St. Patrick's to the Nunciate. I mean, they laid all of this down. Can you imagine all the work they have to go through to do all this? And then we have a 6 mirror, of course, in the ground length. So that's in the WTF category. Thought you might like that. All right, so I looked up the gematria of Catholic charities, and I guess this would also be in the WTF category. This 623, we need to pay more attention to the 623. I know it's the upside down of 923, and that could be the connection, but I think we need to just pay attention to the 6, because this could be the 15. This could be that. Because you can, let's see, because there's an 11 in here. There's 11 in a few ways. Oh yeah, the 9, because we already have the 9. See, the 6 and the 3, so we don't need the 6 to be the 9. So the 6 is the 5 on its own. It's actually the 1 and the 5. You see what I'm saying? So this equals Catholic Charities. Also 23 written out equals Catholic Charities. Alice in Wonderland equals Catholic Charities. Like a Thief in the Night equals Catholic Charities in the Jewish gematria. A quick study on St. Patrick. He's got his fish hat here on, and he's holding his Twin Tower Cathedral. He is it says here, Proto-Irish and Modern Irish, known as the Apostle of Ireland. Irish is a word that has lots and lots of 9s in it. His major shrine is in Glastonbury Abbey, which is some people believe that is where King Arthur was buried, and that he was the Pendragon. So then this would be the burial place of dragons. And some other people think that this is the site of Avalon. And this ties into the Starbucks maiden story, because that, if you look in the Middle Ages, it's not treated as a myth. That Melusine was a flying aqua dragon shapeshifter. It was not treated as a myth in those times. And when she got mad at her husband, she basically took her daughters and went to Avalon. And it used to be surrounded by water. So I don't have the time to delve into this topic as much as I would like to, but there's so much to look at here. So anyway, if you don't have anything to do, you can come and learn more about this, all of this. But what you have to do is realize that Wikipedia is whitewashed, and you have to dig deeper than this to find out more about the symbolism. So from at least the 12th century, the Glastonbury area was frequently associated with the legend of King Arthur, a connection promoted by medieval monks who asserted that Glastonbury was Avalon. Christian legends also claimed that the abbey was founded by Joseph of Arimathea in the 1st century. So that's your Moravian tie-in right there. So I feel like I wouldn't be a very good researcher if I didn't draw the line from St. Patrick's back to the phallus that at the center of everything here, George Washington's monument, and him being a 33rd degree Mason. And here we have the heading from St. Patrick's to the Washington Monument is a 121, which is a Revelations number, actually, because they write Revelations and then they're going to fulfill Revelations. And this is also a 33. And then here we have a 55 part of the mile, and that's your alarm, quake, snape type of frequency, the moment of bum, bum, bum. So here we go. Okay, so let's zoom out here, other way, just to show you the emerging symmetry here. There's a reason for this. I'm not sure that I know exactly what it all is, but I think it ties in with some of the symbolism of, say, this symbolism that's right above, like, say, if this was a crown of Isis, if this was her crown, it's sort of like a crown type of symbolism here. So then on September 24th, after that, he's going to take a helicopter to New York City. Helicopter, by the way, has the gematria of 666. And I think I've gematriaed this before, but we'll take a look at this. All right, well, New York City has the 1008 gateway in it, and it also has the Phi number in it, the Bride of Christ number, and the 68, the 86. This is that's why they put the stock market here originally. They have, I saw an article, I think it came through the W77 channel, where they moved their financial center to Chicago, which should be a sign to New Yorkers that they are about, there's a reason to move their money away from New York. Just showing you, oh, it matches the burning bush, just showing you what the esoteric matches for that. Right, so the Kennedy International Airport in the gematria, this is a 9. It's also a 923. It's a 923 backwards, 932. Can I get that to go away? So it's also this, right. Okay, so that it's also a 13. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say, because there's a 13 in this other number, and the 13 comes up and up again and again in these signs, having to do with M, and it also reduces to 4. This again is the 196. The 196th day of the year was July 15th. The G and the 7 and the 15 of July 15th stand for the GO, the first 2 letters of God. The 169th day of the year is 618, and that is the letters FR for free. This is also an anagram of the digits of phi. The 118, the 618, or if it's, as we see it backwards in the Bride of Christ form, is 816. So if this is your first video with me, I have a series. I'm doing a series on these, and so then when I refer to things and I don't really explain them all the way out, it's probably somewhere in the series. Okay, so after the helicopter ride, I don't know how to get that search thing to go away. Let's go highlight something. There it goes. After the helicopter ride, there's going to be an evening prayer at St. Patrick's. So we kind of have like a St. Patrick's sandwich here, which means in my spare time after I get done with this, I'm gonna do more research on St. Patrick's. And a short procession down 5th Avenue. 500 people will wait for Francis on the steps, and another 2,500 will be inside, including priests and heads of Catholic organizations. So here we are at the Cathedral of St. Patrick in Manhattan, and I want to show you this. This looks very much like you know, the picture they put on the Hoover Dam, and I know that was actually supposed to be a place in Germany. I did research that fully, but just when I look at this, the neo-Gothic style of it reminds me about that, having to do with the Hoover Dam. Look at this. Here he's got. I just want to show you this. This is. It's not a sinister thing. It's just they're so complete with these kind of things. So this is across the street from the Rockefeller Center. So like I showed you before, he's going this 9/11 day equals the 9/24, and the Pope is the 266th Pope, which makes him the 923 Pope, and he will be visiting this area on 9/24, which is a Julian Gregorian equivalent to this number right here. So this may be why they chose this spot. Here's a 1913 picture of the chapel of the cathedral. There's a lot of number symbolism just in this. You could you know, talk about numbers and draw circles and arrows, and I could explain a lot of things. Let me look. I'm trying to get it up on Google Earth so I can look at the orientation, because they usually orient these along a certain heading. This one has a Cathar type of 8-petaled flower in the front, and according to the Cathars, the modern Cathars who claim to be Cathars, they say that this is the sign of Mary, because Mary was a healer, and Mary was actually a title of a woman who could heal. And when the Mary did her healing, her heart chakra would look like this. Now these are back in days when people didn't eat as many toxins and live in horrible places like we do, so they were able to see energy, and they could see the heart chakra. I have seen people's heart chakras before, and I see energy regularly. I live in a toxic environment though, but I do a lot of I try to keep myself as clean as possible, and I think that's part of the reason that I can see things that energy. I can see like auras and chakras and those kind of things. And so I haven't seen an 8-petaled star on, or an 8-petaled formation on someone's healing heart, but I wanted to show you. I wanted to talk to you about what they said about that. Also, just to show you that the phi and the pi symbolism is also woven in here. Not only do we have the 8 here, but this inner circle has a 5. It's a fleur-de-lis type of divergent 7 sign. That's the divergent spiral sign of Isis, and that is who they're referring to when they refer to the Mary. But so 5 times 8 is 56. No, if it's 60. So, right? Wait, hold on. Sorry, way off. Maybe I shouldn't have do 5 parts of this all in one take. But the 40, so it's 40. 5 times 8 is 40. The 40 is the number for the U.S. It's the us. It's the body of. It's actually the body of the Bride of Christ. So that symbolism for me makes a lot of sense. Sorry about my math. Okay guys, I think I found the reason for why he's going to this this place on this day. Let me show you. We just take the heading from here to here. And what do you see? Look in the lower right. This heading, this cross is pointing in the 119 degree heading. And he's coming here on 924, which is the Gregorian equivalent of the Julian 911. So I hope you waited long enough in the video, because I think that's a nice gem. I think that was worth waiting for. I'm going to draw this out. Hold on a second. All right. Well, I drew that line out quite a bit, and I'll show it to you. I didn't. Nothing really jumped out at me except for that it seems to be a line that goes through a lot of ocean. It seems to not hit land. But I came back to the cathedral in Manhattan, and I drew a line from one of the other headings. And then I decided to pull it over here to the Washington Monument and just show you that he's visiting over there on the 24th day, which is the 9/11 equivalent. And then there's it has a 232 degree heading back to the Washington Monument. Okay, so here's the line. It's not too easy to draw these, because when you pull out a line, then the heading changes, and then you need to set it down and pick it up again. So that's why. Well, first of all, it's also the supposed curve of the Earth is the reason why it's not completely straight. But yeah, it actually does look pretty straight. But that's how you do this. So it's interesting that it goes right down here. I'm always amazed at where the headings go. I'm always surprised. I always think that this heading would go over to Europe, or at least to Africa. But it actually misses Africa. And look at all this ocean. So I had to set it down in the middle of the ocean a couple times. I think it might, I've noticed from drawing these lines before that they like to hit these outermost points. And so I brought this across because of the way that my heading looked, but I think it's actually supposed to go right on this outer tip from, I was in a little bit of a hurry. And when you do this slow, you find out that these very special lines, they go over the outer tips of things. I'm going to show you where it comes across. There might be some really interesting things on this line. I would just have to take the time to look, but that's not really our focus today, although it is fun. All right, well, stay tuned. This is Dandelion Song. Next, we're going to have, I think it's part 6 of the Pope's Fiasco tour. All the symbolism, all the strangeness. And the Pope's going to go to a school called Our Lady Queen of Angels, and he's going to go to it on 9/24, and it just so happens that the school, let me highlight something else, the school has the date in the name, in the Jewish gematria. Who knew? Who knew? Down here we have the 23, and the 27 and the 9. So I've told you before, the birthday of the Jesuit order is a 927. The Pope has tons of 923 numbers on him. So does this school, Our Lady Queen of Angels. So in the next edition, we'll go take a look at that. Talk to you soon.